morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome. It's 9:43 a.m. in Cyprus. Hi, Corpanks, thanks for joining. Come and find out what a satsang is. Invite your friends to join. This is really interesting. So it's 9:43 here. Hi, Chris. 9:43 here in Cyprus. Lovely to see you. And I'm talking in this low voice because I'm outside in the garden and, I don't want to startle the neighbours or anything. Hi Nishad, how are you? Type in your names so I can start to get to know you better. Type in your names and where are you from? Repeach, hi Repeach, how you doing? Good, I'm glad you're good, I'm good too. Hi Chris. I'm good, thank you, I'm good. I'm kind of getting warmed up for our global meditation scope that's going on later this afternoon, which is 8 a.m. Eastern time. But for now we're actually going to talk about Satsang and what is Satsang. So before we talk about Satsang and what is Satsang, I will briefly introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. I'm Helen Christodoulou, and I am the founder and creator of Fusion 7 Healing. I am an intuitive mentor, and I also teach esoteric classes that are based on metaphysics to help people to transform their lives. So classes and sessions, I also speak publicly, and I've started speaking here on Periscope only about 10 days ago, so here I am. Good morning darling, how are you? You've come to find out what Satsang is. This is Christina, guys, hi. Okay, so we're talking about Satsang this morning. I've just introduced myself. Now, Satsang actually means circle of truth. That's what it is. And originally, a Satsang was carried out by, it's still carried out by yogis. Okay, so what would happen is that the group would, I'm happy that you're here live as well. It's the first time we've caught each other live, so that's beautiful. So don't forget to tap your screens, hearts. So, it's originally when we gather in a room or a venue with a group, and it will be conducted by a yogi, as mentioned earlier on, and the yogi would sit circle and they would discuss, or rather he would impart messages of truth to the group. In the satsangs that I run, because I run them here in Cyprus at my own place, the whole group gets involved. Okay, so it's not just about me preaching all the time. It's about offering a concept, or offering rather a truth, and putting it out there and getting feedback from people. So it's very interactive. And so I invite you to do that with me as well here today. So if you would like to type something in your box, ask me something as we talk about truth, because Satsang is about truth circle, then please feel free to do that. So seeing as it's the first Satsang that's being broadcast live on the internet via Periscope, we are going to talk about truth in itself, yeah, because Satsang is the circle of truth. So there are 7 fundamental truths that everybody needs first to know about. So if you don't know them, we're gonna talk about each one, and once we know them, then the next step that's really important is to implement those truths into your daily reality and your daily lives. So let's have the rundown, okay? So the 7 fundamental truths, they're also called the 7 hermetic principles, and they're also referred to as the 7 universal laws as well. So they've got a few different names, okay? So here they are. There is the law of mentalism. That's the first truth. Yeah. The second is the law of correspondence. We have the law of vibration, the law of rhythm, the law of cause and effect, which I prefer to call cause and response rather than effect, and the law of gender. So these are our 7 fundamental, immutable truths. Okay. So those are the rundown of them. Now we're going to go through each one. So the first truth is that is the law of mentalism. Okay, everything is mental. Everything is not crazy mental. Everything is mind. Okay, everything is mind. God is mind, primary source is mind, whatever it is that you affiliate yourself to is cosmic mind, yeah, or eros nous, which means sacred mind, yeah. This is the law of mentalism. Everything is mind. And I don't know if you've seen pictures out there, but there are actually snapshots, pictures that have been taken of the universe where it actually looks like a brain. I mean, literally, it looks like a human brain. So everything is mind. If you think about it, everything that's ever been created, it must have taken some phenomenal mind to be able to create something like that, yeah? So just as everything is mind, so are we. It's just that our minds have become perhaps overstimulated, in some cases corrupted, almost like corrupted files on a computer, because humans are very programmable, right? So everything is mind and we are mind, so it's a matter of us grasping this concept that the universe and the cosmos is mind, and that we need to be able to reconnect to that because it is our fundamental truth to be able to do that. Irrelevant if you are religious, irrelevant if you are spiritual, this is pure metaphysics and it's immutable truth. So that is truth number 1, or law number 1. Everything is mind, mental or mentalism. Great. So the next truth that we have, oh wait, hold on. Do you have any questions to ask about the first truth, which is everything is mind? Okay, so if you don't now, you can catch me later on catch.me. Yeah, this is running there too, so you can leave your comments or questions over there also. That's all great. So truth number 1, everything is mind. Truth number 2, or law number 2, is everything is correspondence. That's our next universal law or universal truth, yeah? The law of correspondence. So what this is telling us is that everything is fractal, which means that you are a part of everything that's up there, and everything that's down here is an aspect of everything that's up there as well. So it's that kind of as above, so below parable that we hear about, or truth, because it is actually a truth. Okay, so law of correspondence. Everything corresponds. Everything is interconnected, interrelated. Everything is unity. Everything is unified. Just like the internet, just like Periscope that's bringing us together in this moment right now. So the second law or truth is that everything is correspondence, or it corresponds. So the third truth, or the third universal law, is the law of vibration. And this is quite important because it's actually everything that my work is based upon. Everything that is vibrates. Everything has vibrational frequency. And so with Fusion 7 healing processes, transformational processes, we use vibrational frequency of light, colour or sound in order to transform something and to recreate it or retrieve an original state to make it what it is that you wanted it to be. So if you are in a place of suffering, for example, we can use vibrational frequency of light, colour or sound to transform that experience. So that's the third law, the law or truth of vibration. Yeah. The fourth truth is polarity. Okay, it's the law of polarity. So everything has two poles. So people talk about banishing the negative, which we do need to a certain degree, because you don't want to be sort of pondering or being stagnated in the negative the whole time, or keep repeating negative thoughts, actions, deeds, feelings the whole time. No, you don't want to do that. But if we look at the law of polarity, there needs to be a positive and a negative. So we can look at it in terms of metaphysics and say, well, we need to have electricity and magnetism. They're the two opposites, okay? We need to have female and masculine. That's one of the laws that we'll look at, truths, a little bit later on. But everything needs to have an opposite. Without an opposite, it cannot be. Coming back to negativity, though, as our example, sometimes, no, not sometimes, many times actually, we do need the negative in order to be able to retrieve or bring back the positive. So we brood in our negative experience and say, oh my goodness, why should this be happening to me? This is awful, and we might victimize ourselves. But no, in fact, we need to take that negative situation and say, whoa, hold on just a minute here. What is this shit teaching me? You know, it's teaching you something that in fact it's positive. So if you use your negative as an opportunity, and if you use it as a portal, in other words, a door to move through, it will take you to the positive. So if in the negative you feel backed in a corner where you feel like you have no choice, where you feel like you are a victim, where you feel like you are restricted, where you feel like that your hands are tied, if you allow yourself to move through that portal of the negative, it will then in fact take you to the positive, because one cannot exist without the other. So that's a real important one to contemplate on, and I really do strongly recommend that after you watch this, that at some point you go back and watch the replay, because as you let it sink in, you will find out and you will see that implementing a lot of it can really be powerful and helpful in your day-to-day life. So that is the law of polarity. So far we've had the law of mentalism. Everything is mind. The second one is correspondence, the law or truth of correspondence. And we have just talked about the law or truth of polarity. So the fifth one is the law of rhythm. Yeah, rhythm is the dancer. Yeah, gone back to the 80s now, 90s, sorry. So everything is rhythm. So everything that is does actually have a rhythm. Everything comes like in a, coming back to frequency and vibration, everything comes in a wave configuration, everything that is. So rhythm, if you think of music, it actually has this signature wave frequency of a wave configuration. Yeah, sound. So rhythm really is actually indicating or referring to, if you like, sound. Let's just get the croak out the throat. So cheers. This is my green tea for this morning. Hope you're enjoying yours. What's in your mug this morning or this evening? So, the truth. Cheers. The truth is that everything is rhythm. Okay, everything is rhythm. And one of the first things to ever emanate from primary source, which is also to be found in holy scriptures as well, is sound. So everything arises from sound and light. So rhythm is speaking of sound, the waveform configuration of sound. And sound is very powerful. Words are very powerful, either for the good and for the bad as well. Now, it's an absolute fallacy to think and believe that there's no such thing as good and bad. Rubbish. This is New Age rubbish. Of course there is good and bad. Anything that violates somebody's sacred space is bad. okay? And this is an absolute truth, whether you believe it or not. Okay, truth just is whether you or I believe it or not, and this is one of those truths. So we just spoke about the law of rhythm, which is pertaining itself to sound. And our sixth truth and fundamental law is the law of cause and effect. So this comes and kind of wraps itself a little bit around karma, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. If we look at it metaphysically, in a more sort of like scientific format for today, cause and effect means that something happens, something is, and then as a result of that, something happens, something responds to it. So it kind of comes back to law of polarity. That's how it balances itself out. So if I was to sit here and call you a bunch of nasty names right now, it's kind of highly probable that you would either react and either say something that's on the same vibration back to me, or if you are in the love and light movement, you will say, well, you know, you are forgiven and it's all good and well, which is fine. However, we just need to be careful that we don't become compliant to negative situations. That's really, really important. So because we are on the 3D domain, we do need to set up some boundaries to protect ourselves from people who are in the violation game. Okay, so if you are love and light and forgiving someone, great, but just make sure that doesn't excuse or allow that action to be carried out unto you in repetition, because that means that you are then becoming compliant to the situation. Okay, does it make sense? If it makes sense, press your hearts or give me some thumbs up in the box under there. Okay, cool. And I really am open to discussion if you want to sort of say something, add something, ask something. So cause and effect. An action has a reaction, but as I said right at the beginning, can you say that again before? You're going to have to... which bit? I've said a lot before. Are you talking about cause and effect? About the compliancy? So if you can just clarify your question, then I can... If you clarify your question, though, then I can be more specific and answer that for you, Dando. And if you can just please leave me your name so I don't call you Dando. Compliancy. Okay. So compliancy means that, let's just say, for example... Let's take a classic example, yeah, whereby you've got a domestic situation, right? And you've got a husband and wife in the domestic situation, and let's say he's an alcoholic, yeah, for example. So he goes out, he, you know, has a large night, whatever, comes back home to his wife, and he starts to beat up on her, okay? And so after that happens, he turns around and says to his wife, I am really sorry. Please forgive me. Oh, goodness. Okay, so you might have to go back and watch a replay, but I'll carry on with the example, okay? So husband beats up the wife. He asks for her forgiveness. Cool. So husband beats up wife. He asks for her forgiveness. And because she loves him, she forgives him and stays. Don't forget, he has violated one of the fundamental laws, okay? He's violated her sacred space, okay? So, nevertheless, she has forgiven him, okay? So, that means that she has stayed. Unfortunately, however, husband goes out again, has another large night, comes back home fully tanked, beats her up again, okay? If she continues to forgive and yet stays in the situation, that means that she has become compliant, okay? She has allowed herself to entertain victim archetype or a victim mentality, and is allowing herself or opening herself up accepting this repetitive situation. Does that make sense for you? That's to be compliant. That's compliancy. However, if she was to say no more, great. If she was to say no more and put her foot down, walk away from that situation and forgive him from afar so that he doesn't have access to be able to violate her space again, then that's fine. Okay, then that's fine. So she has now put into place a good way to be able to maneuver the law of cause and effect. Okay, so the cause was husband beating her up. Okay, and the effect is her choice. She could have stayed in the situation and be violated and be compliant, or she could make a decision to stand her ground and in her sovereignty and remove herself from that situation. So she responded to that situation accordingly for her highest benefit and good. Okay, now I know that it's not that simple. I know there's a lot of stuff involved, but it really is the bottom line. If someone has violated you and you give them a chance, I'm not saying don't give people a chance, do that, okay? You give them a chance and they're still continuing, then you have got to get out of there. You've got to get out of there, whatever the situation might be. Okay, whatever the situation might be. You're welcome. What's your name and where are you from? Dando, what's your name and where are you from? We're going to move on to the seventh and final truth, or cosmic or universal law, which is the law of gender. Okay, so gender is sex. So it means female and male. It means, I should be doing it the other way, masculine and feminine, okay? Now, this trait is actually innate in all beings. So even though, for example, I'm a female in this skin suit, this body, this lifetime, I have traits that are both masculine and feminine. Okay, now this doesn't only apply to physical human form or our animal friends. It also applies to states. It also applies to the planetary bodies. Yeah, it also applies to the galaxies. It also applies to the cosmos. Okay, so for example, the Earth is considered to be predominantly a female archetype planet. Okay, now within each microcosmic unit, within each person, some qualities of masculine and feminine are imbalanced. They're out of harmony. So there are traits that are masculine, that are positive, that we need to have, but there are also masculine traits that are very destructive and negative that we do not need to have. Okay, then we've also got the other side of it. A female, for example, has masculine and feminine traits. Her feminine traits could be wonderful, but some could be very out of balance, like the example that we described earlier, which was our lady example who was allowing the husband to bash her about. That means that her feminine energy, she was too yielding, okay, too soft. Perhaps the compassion was in excess, if ever there was to be such a thing. Well, there is if somebody's violating it, okay? So a negative male trait, for example, is dominance, okay, which could exist in a woman or a man. If somebody is excessively dominant, then it means it's one male or masculine trait that is out of balance, disharmony, okay? Another way that we can describe the gender law or the gender truth is the male corresponds to electric energy and the female qualities, or energy rather, corresponds to the magnetic polarity. Okay, so electricity and magnetism are actually two aspects of male and female traits. Male, electric; female, magnetic. So these are our 7 universal laws, our 7 immutable fundamental truths. When I say immutable, it means it just is. It's not about what you believe, it's not about what I believe, it's not about your truth, it's not about my truth. It is immutable law and truth. These are the things that withstand, transcend all different concepts of time. It just is. It always was, it is, and to ever be. So if we can get a really good command and grasp of these laws, this is just a summary of these truths and these laws, but we could go into real big detail of actually dissecting each one in depth, yeah? And I've done that quite a lot in my classes as well that I teach. I teach about a lot of universal laws and universal concepts and immutable truths. And so start investigating on that, start educating and finding out more about that. And I hope it really helps you in your day-to-day life. So just to remind you and recap, you can catch this on replay and also on catch.me, and I will be on later today, 8 a.m. Eastern time, which is 3 p.m. Cyprus time, Eastern European time. That's here in Europe, Cyprus, where we will be exploring, or we would be doing a global meditation scope where we will be exploring our extrasensory perception. So, thank you for coming along. Thank you for being a member of the Truth Tribe, because that's what you are when you come into this room. So, thanks for coming along. If you want more information about what it is I do, fusion7healing.com. If you're not following me, follow me here. Thank you, darling. You're welcome. If you're not following me here, follow. Please invite your friends along also. You can also catch me on Twitter at Fusion7Healing, Facebook author page of The Miracle Frequency, Helen Christodoulou author page on Facebook, amongst others. But with that, I will leave my love, light and truth with you. May you have a blessed day, a wonderful Sunday, and I hope to catch you later this afternoon where we can explore our extrasensory perception. Peace out.